So in late 2019, a new exoplanet was discovered orbiting an M-dwarf star 124 light-years away from us, which is relatively close by in terms of the size of the galaxy. This new exoplanet is called K2-18b, and for a few months after its discovery, we didn't really have enough data to make detailed descriptions of it. But now, there's been a new study published in the astrophysical journal Letters that examined K2-18b in much greater detail, refining its attributes and parsing down the range of possible surface environments. The planet's radius is 2.6 times the radius of Earth. Its mass is 8.6 times Earth's mass. It has a thick atmosphere dominated by hydrogen, and it orbits in its star's habitable zone, so it could theoretically possess a surface temperature that's moderate enough to sustain liquid water. And it turns out that this isn't just theoretical, because in late 2019, there was actually 2 separate research teams that identified traces of water in the planet's atmosphere. So it's very possible that this is a wet, humid, temperate world. Now, one of the bigger mysteries about this planet, about K2-18b, was how thick its hydrogen-rich atmosphere really is. I mean, it's possible that the atmosphere is so thick that the planet itself is actually a gas giant, in the mini-Neptune category. Any terrestrial core would be buried under hundreds, maybe thousands of miles of increasingly dense gas and liquid. If this is the case, the planet would be much too hot and the pressure would be way too high to host life. But fortunately for astrobiology enthusiasts, the new research on K2-18b suggests that the planet may be much more Earth-like than it is like a mini-Neptune. This most recent research was led by Dr. Niku Madhusudan from Cambridge University's Institute of Astronomy. Dr. Madhusudan said, quote, "Water vapor has been detected in the atmospheres of numerous exoplanets, but even if the planet is in the habitable zone, that doesn't necessarily mean that there are habitable conditions on the surface. To establish the prospects for habitability, it is important to obtain a unified understanding of the interior and atmospheric conditions on the planet. In particular, whether liquid water can exist beneath the atmosphere," unquote. Based on their extensive modeling data, Dr. Madhusudan and his team found that K2-18b's atmosphere is not so thick as to be prohibitive of life, and its water layer is also temperate enough to potentially host life. In addition to lots and lots of hydrogen and a significant amount of water, they also identified surprisingly low quantities of methane and ammonia. They were expecting higher quantities of these biologically significant compounds. So what could explain the difference? Possibly some kind of alien ecology that metabolizes ammonia and/or methane. Curiously, among all of the possible scenarios within the boundaries of established data, there are many scenarios where planet K2-18b could be remarkably Earth-like. In some of the more admittedly unlikely scenarios, K2-18b is an ocean world, with a very Earth-like atmospheric pressure and air and water temperature near the surface. Now, even though this particular circumstance is unlikely, there's 2 general possibilities here. There's 2 general outcomes if this is the case. Either K2-18b is a fertile water world filled with alien organisms swimming around in this giant alien ocean, or the ocean is too deep, and the pressure near the bottom is so great that it forces the water to become ice. In such a scenario, this ice would cover the mineral crust, the mineral bedrock, and it would prevent erosion and mineral runoff from mixing into the ocean water. This, in turn, would prevent complex life from forming, as complex life presumably requires mineral nutrients. So the oceans of K2-18b could be full of alien life, or they could be completely lifeless, except for maybe some microbes. Although this is all assuming that it actually is an ocean world, which is possible according to their calculations, but it's just unlikely. In the paper, the scientists say, quote, "Our constraints on CH4 and NH3, methane and ammonia, suggest chemical disequilibrium. Among other possibilities for chemical disequilibrium, e.g. photochemistry, the potential influence of biochemical processes may not be entirely ruled out, unquote. Now this part is super cool, because they're basically saying that biological processes might be necessary to create the surprisingly low levels of methane and ammonia that they observed. This is really exciting, because they might have stumbled upon some kind of methane or ammonia consuming alien metabolism. But of course, this conclusion is deeply speculative, and it'll require future observations and a lot more data to really clear up, to solve the mystery. And the scientists agree. They say, quote, "Future observations, e.g. with the James Webb Space Telescope, will have the potential to refine our findings. We argue that planets such as K2-18b can indeed have the potential to approach habitable conditions, and searches for biosignatures should not necessarily be restricted to smaller, rocky planets," unquote. So, there you go. Alien life is out there, somewhere, and it may not exist on just the small, rocky planets. It may exist in strange, giant water worlds as well.